Hey guys, welcome to our review of the entirety of Kamen Rider Build Asterix so far. I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
Cinder Blaze
and Makotoa.
Boys, welcome back to Toku Week Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7! Is this Toku Week's gonna be more than a week? But what that means at the end of the video, we're going to be giving you something special. So just look forward to that. Anyway, Build. I love this show. And it has quickly, with that finale, it has cemented itself as my favorite Kamen Rider series. Watch as we slowly move into Michael's face. Michael, what do you have to say about this episode?
You know what, Corey? Out of all of the dozens of Kamen Rider shows that I have not watched,
Yeah?
This is definitely my favorite.
Right, yes.
Yeah, that joke doesn't work as well as you think it did. Compared to everything I didn't watch, this. Sorry, my brain just fried because someone.
You're welcome.
No, it's good content. I mean, I've experienced bad Toku now.
Yeah.
At least a couple of times.
So many different flavors of bad. It's so like, I feel like most times Toku gets it wrong, and we're just waiting for it to get good.
Yeah.
And this is the reward. We get Build. Build was really good. In terms of pacing, it was fast, but it kept you interested all the way through. The characters were there to anchor you throughout, like, the fast pace of the show. I don't know. It was so well done, so well orchestrated, and so well planned. I don't know, man. It's just been such a wild ride.
Yeah, and it honestly felt like they tried with this series because, you know, Michael and I watch a lot of like long running anime and stuff, and like we're kind of used to some shows that like have the weekly content that goes around for like an entire year or something. You know, that is really hard to do. It's really expensive to make, and sometimes they have to throw in a bunch of stinkers just to fill up the time. And every week on Kamen Rider Build, something relevant happened to the plot.
And something enjoyable happened too. Like, I remember for a while we were just holding our breath every episode. We're like, okay, don't jinx it. This isn't going to be every episode has been amazing every time. And we were just kind of like, huh, it's not, is it coming? Is it coming? And it just almost never did. There was maybe one episode that I can think of that like you guys actually didn't like a lot. I was fine with it personally, but it's just goes to show that this show just like was consistent all the way through. Like you said, with the pacing, with the,
go ahead. Keep on going. But
the characters. I mean, towards the end we kind of got a little bit repetitive with like the story of here's more bottles we need to collect, but it didn't bother me because it was already such a good show up till that point. It wasn't such a huge deterrent. And it also didn't like do it in a super shoddy way, like blatantly shoddy. I can think of something recent we watched that was just blatantly just trying to sell stuff, and this show just puts so much more into it than that. It's like, oh, we've got more stuff that we kind of have to show maybe, or we got to stretch the show a little bit further. Well, let's at least get some more development for characters while we're at it. Because I never expected our, tertiary writer to actually do anything or go anywhere or be as lovable as he was.
Yeah. I didn't expect that out of most of the characters. Like, I realized that this show does its best to try to redeem or at least bring some sort of dimension to everyone, for better or for worse. For worse would be the Romacon brothers, or the Hell brothers, but at its best, we got Grease, we got Rogue, Even to an extent, frick, I had him right here. That's not right. Mad Rogue. That guy.
Oh, the other Rogue.
Utsumi.
Utsumi, the one who... Now I'm gonna have to rebuild it again.
But that was actually kind of funny.
It was.
It's kind of like a metatextual, oh, now I have to rebuild my friendships again. And I recently rewatched that last episode when when Sento walked into the coffee shop again. There was this really depressing song about having lost people or lost something and not being able to get it back, and it was in English. It was like an English song, and it was super depressing. I feel like that was left in for the Japanese audience. If they knew English, that would have been like, oh hey, that's depressing. Way to do that. But I don't know, it was just so good. And at the end, to wrap everything up in that little microcosm of the other world, seeing all the parallels. I said this in our final episode review, but seeing all the parallels was kind of just a compilation of some of the best parts of Build. And what are you laughing at?
Nothing. Stop getting distracted. Continue. Stop.
I hate the both of you. But what really knocked Build out of its sort of alignment is, and I didn't even notice it, is whenever Sento and Banjo aren't really interacting together. There was a part of it where I didn't really feel like they got enough time together, and all of the crap that Sento was going through, it felt like he was going through it alone. But when that aspect, when the relationship between him and Banjo came back, it really felt like the show had returned.
Every time they reunited, it felt like that. Every time they were separated in some way and then they came back together, that was a huge highlight.
Yeah.
It was a huge, just, ugh.
And I feel like that's a common theme for multiple characters in the series. When they're kind of off on their own, doing their own thing, I feel like their characters kind of sour a little bit. Even for our favorite character, Sento, or one of our favorite characters. I don't know how you guys feel, but when he was kind of doing stuff just by himself, and he would be in that rut, he became a little bit unlikable. But the second he starts interacting with everyone again, that becomes the Sento that we actually enjoy a lot.
Well, to me, it's specifically interacting with Banjo that really brings him back. Because, Banjo's the one that brings out the best in him.
I also like his interactions with our villain. Especially when he's fighting him or talking to him as a human form. Just those moments throughout that were, sprinkled throughout the show. Especially, I think one of the biggest early highlights was when Sento got his sparkling form and had that fight in the rain.
Yeah.
With and that was with Bloodstock. And
Brad Stank,
especially just because of the symbolism going along with that, since that was where he found him, and the whole idea of that you've been using me this whole time type thing. That was really, everything about that scene was amazing, and I still, brought it up right now because I still distinctly remember it as a huge highlight from the show early on. I'd love to go back and rewatch that, actually.
Yeah, so, and to that point, all of the major forms, I don't want to say any some of the best matches, all of the major forms really had some sort of meaning or weight behind it. And to compare it to my previous favorite series, Kamen Rider Gaim, sometimes there was meaning and weight behind those forms, but other times it sort of just
there was a meaning to every single one of those forms. They just happen to be the same exact meaning.
Yeah. But with Build, he learned and grew, and like it felt like he earned them more so than Gaim did. Sorry, Gaim. I still love you, but
What are you talking about? Gaim didn't earn jack shit in that series. That was our one gripe, but yeah. Seeing like Sento actually be the one to kind of create his new forms.
Be the one.
Instead.
Just let him finish talking before you make the joke.
But then it's not gonna be funny.
He
I forgot. Go ahead. Make
look
the
what
joke.
you did.
I've forgotten my point. So.
My God.
Sento being the one to make the upgrades. No. Didn't bring you anything.
No.
Anyway.
Incredible.
But I froze.
No.
How can we tell?
I don't know. I thought you said I froze, but
You are the frozen Stratos.
Okay, great. Thank you.
If I could turn around and look at a different camera to just like make that moment, like I would, but
to
I'm already
punctuate the moment. Yeah. For all its faults, like when I started collecting Build, there was a point where I'm like, man, why am I doing this? And I still have a little bit of that. Why do I have so many best matches, more so than I can deal with? Why do I need Pirate Russia? But but this series being so good, it really endeared me to the collection I have. And like I know that I guess in Japan or wherever, some collectors just sort of purge their collections from that series at the end. I never really understood it, but this, like, I've endeared myself to like my entire Build collection, and it's really because this show was just so good. I don't know.
Well, that's because it was kind of airing while you were collecting them, so the bond was still kind of like there between the show and you.
Yeah.
Like, give it like 1 or 2 years and you haven't watched a Build in a while, like maybe it'll fade, and they're just like, you know what, I've enjoyed my collection. Maybe someone else will enjoy it more than me. Something like that.
I guess. I don't know. I'd still like to enjoy this in a shelf.
Yeah.
I think before I forget that we sort of brought up the idea, what was everyone's favorite character by the end of the show?
Banjo.
I think I'm a boring vanilla flavor. I like Sento, main character all the way. And it's not, huh?
How is that like boring and vanilla? Like Sento is probably one of the most interesting main character writers.
That's true, but like how easy is it to say the main character of the show?
Normally it is.
Series,
Normally it is. Any other series, but this one has other good characters.
Yeah.
I actually, it's hard for me because I can see why you like Banjo the most. I can see why you like Sento the most, and my favorite is Gentoku. Like, he is my absolute favorite, and like I still absolutely love Banjo, and I like the Grease is good too, but like I feel like Gentoku like gets those comedic timings more, but he also has just the edge that's paired with it, so it's this incredible contrast. But then just seeing him like getting beat up throughout the entire show, and then to finally get a really sick power up with Crocodile and Rogue, and that one.
Okay, so I have some beef to pick with calling that a power up. Because it's his base form. It's his first form. It's his only form, because the form he had in the Trans Steam Gun, Night Rogue, I don't think that counts as a Kamen Rider. Neither does Bloodstark. I don't think that counts as a Kamen Rider either.
But that's like, he still used that before and it wasn't as powerful. Does it matter if it's not technically the same?
I mean, I'm saying, like, he started that when he got the Rogue suit, that's when he became a Kamen Rider.
Like, for me, like, the mechanism
Okay.
creates some Kamen Riders is completely different compared to, like, Blood and Night Rogue.
Yeah.
I still like their suits.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, because, like, the online, and I'm going to call you out specifically, Josh. He thinks that Night Rogue is a friggin', what is it? His a Kamen Rider. I can't count that as a Kamen Rider. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Souring up my enjoyment of a character by his technicalities over here.
Well, he becomes a Kamen Rider.
Yeah, he gets pissed on.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, he gets peed on. I mean, he gets teed on.
He gets teed on.
I'm so glad we watched the spin-offs. This. It was so rewarding.
Go watch the spin-offs, you guys.
Yeah,
like all of Rogue's side stories is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Except for the friggin' Bear TV thing. Skip that. Skip the hell out of that. Leave that alone. I saw a few people clicking on that today. Spoiler alert. Or not spoilers, but like transparency's sake. We're recording this ahead of time. I saw some people had viewed it, and I'm like, man, it's not that we made bad content. It's that they made bad content, and we made content around it. It's really bad. There are 5 people who viewed the watch along in the review. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you actually saw that.
Bad things. Since we're bringing up the topic of Gentoku, one of my biggest gripes with the series, especially in the beginning, was that character and how like shitty he was. And we would be calling him names like Scragglebeard, and that was like the first time I kind of was endeared to his character because he had like he
has a nickname.
Yeah, he has a nickname, and then like he has his own like sense of fashion where he wears these giant baggy clothes that don't even fit him.
That was incredible.
But like they took like one of my least favorite characters and they like gave him a redemption in a way. Like just like overhauled his character, like all of like the really awful things about his character became like our favorite things about him. How hardcore serious he was and ignorant at the same time. Oh my God.
For sure.
Just like crystallized in its perfect form and like the shape of his t-shirts.
Honestly, I wouldn't have bought the dumb raincoat had I not absolutely loved Gentoku. And that's part of the reason why I hesitate saying that Sento's my favorite, but that's also probably because I think out of all of them I could pull off a Gentoku cosplay a little more. And that's really the only poll, but Sento, he's my favorite.
Why is Sento your favorite? Because I was giving an explanation of why Gentoku is mine, but
I don't know.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, and like he fits that traditional hero sort of like he wants to play that traditional hero sort of role, and he gets to play that traditional hero in his own sort of way. Like it's his actions and what he does. Like it's who he is to be a hero. Who he is what makes him a hero, and it's
Remember
not
that
even
speech
like
at the end of the series what Banjo told him about what he told him.
Yeah. Like it's those moments where I go like it's not some like intangible like ideal that you have to strive for, like a Superman or like a Batman, like a hyper realized version of what a superhero should be. He seems like someone who has morals that and executes them in ways that any person could. He's a relatable hero, and I really like.
He also
that
like
about
doubts his morals like repeatedly throughout the story, and we have all these characters kind of like work with him,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of makes his like ideals and motivations just that much more solid because we've seen it built up throughout the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever he's kind of like having like those big fights, like Michael already mentioned his fight against Evolt and stuff. Like when he's up there and he's actually fighting Evolt, he's doing it for a reason, and he's been fighting multiple enemies for different reasons. First like protect his country and stop the war and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it makes it a lot more easier to kind of like believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fighting for love and peace.
Yeah.
Well, like even those like those hokey things, they even say it's a little, I don't know about antiquated, but like it's a little contrived.
Yeah, like Banjo was kind of like making fun of it.
Yeah, but the fact that they make fun of it not just that, but also like they're the kind of people that are able to execute it, and they won't always get it right, but they'll do their best. And really, to be a hero, that's enough, that's
Not
why
unless everyone dies.
This is true. Fair
or
enough.
you just
at
crash
least
two Earths together and somehow
Yeah.
it doesn't create a new Earth.
Yeah, right.
You
It-
know
it does-
what? That is such a weird concept. And at the end of the day, they somehow made it work, and it was anchored by the characters.
It was.
It doesn't matter.
That is a
what
sign
sort
of
of
really
weird-
good storytelling because something
Well,
that
I'd say it's a sign of really good characters and like direction and also like writing.
What I mean by that is the story doesn't, or sorry, like
it's the way you tell the story.
it is the way you tell the story. I'm like it's something that I've learned after all the just kind of blowback from the recent Star Wars movies and stuff, is that like if you tell a story and make the story's core laws of the story change in order to like they
I feel
change.
like that's very Star Wars specific.
It's very
right now.
but here's the thing. We got this story that didn't necessarily make the most sense, but it's focused on how the characters react to that and how the characters have to
it's where
forced
you
into
place your focus, and they place the focus in the right spot. Like if you put it to like all the science-y gobbledygook and like trying to explain why this event's happening the way it is, they did that for a little bit, but they quickly brushed it off so that you could get to what makes the show good. And what you look like
Alex
you have something
seems
to say,
like
Alex.
he wants to really say something.
I don't want to say it anymore. Go ahead.
Are you going to share with the class? Okay. Well, before we change the subject from our protagonist, I want to say a couple of things that I really like about him. My first favorite attribute is just mainly because what makes him as a character really great is just the way he plays off of Banjo. Like the way he teases Banjo and like the kind of back and forth they always have is always a treat, and it just boosts both of those characters for me every time it happens. Right? It's just fun to watch.
But it's not like, for me, it's also like not just what it does for the audience, like them going off of each other. That's what keeps them going, like for themselves. Like, oh shoot, this is the finale discussion, so you should have done your homework for the last year, or at least this week.
We're like 20 minutes in this review.
when he says, hey, I'm cracking a smile under here, and then Sento's like, well shoot, I want to see that smile, or I kind of wanted to see that face. Them sort of boosting off of each other and not necessarily raising their hazard level, but raising their happiness level. It's great to see that. I don't know, they really, really are the best match. No, I mean, like, I mean that are. in and
am I gonna say my next point, or are we gonna?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors?
I don't know. Maybe this will go in with what you were saying, but the other thing that I really like about him is how he handles his stress, because there's two different ways that he seems to handle his stress consistently, and one of them is to play it off with kind of like a lighthearted joke, and I don't know. It just works. I don't know how to explain why that stands out to me. But when those things happen, and he's like, this is like end of the world type stuff, and he can manage to like keep a cool, calm, collected type persona about it. But you know that it's not just like bad writing, and that they're just that he's out of character, because he does have those moments where he is legitimately in pain or stressed. Yeah. And those are usually the moments when like Misora shows up and like tries to talk to him or something, or when he's having an internal monologue.
Alex's favorite parts.
When he has an internal monologue with himself or something. But like the actor really puts in the work in those moments too, because like he'll run his hand through his hair like he's super stressed, and just takes a deep breath, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like he's really showing that this is a pain for the character right now. So just like I think that duality of how he can handle things a certain way, but then some things are too much for him, it just feels like the character is very complex because of the writing, and also the character or the actor who's portraying him as well.
Yeah, I feel like go for it.
Oh, and it's not like his character has to be too complex in regards to that type of stuff. Like they just had to go like one step and just kind of like made all that make more sense, and that like we know that Sento feels responsible for all of what's happening, and that's like the primary thing that always kind of pops up. He's always feels responsible for like all the war and all the destruction that's happening, and that's kind of why he feels it. So whenever he has like those constant like breakdowns, we understand why. We know why he's going through this, so it doesn't just come off as him being like melodramatic and just having the problem for the sake of having a problem and maybe resolving it with a power-up, It just comes naturally.
I feel like what makes like his sort of comedy, his sort of shielding, like seeing that as a coping mechanism, or at the very least like shielding his friends from seeing him this way, it's because the way he sort of presents himself to the team is at least trying to be that unshakable force. He's doing his best to be the hero, and it's reflected in all of his dialogue, even though he says, oh hey, I want to be front and center to Banjo, or like Banjo's like stealing the spot. Like even though he says it as a joke, you can kind of feel it, because he has that responsibility, and he like really, if he has no memories, if he has not too much to live for, he's the perfect man for the job. And he's sort of taken that on, and to see him grapple with the harder decisions in that way is showing that he is doing his absolute best. And that aspect of it, like seeing him struggle with it and trying to do his best despite all else, is what makes me think of him as a hero. Like in pushing forward despite everything that's happening to you.
Yeah.
Anything, Alex? Anything? No.
Oh.
Why don't you tell me why you like Banjo so much, Alex?
What are you talking about? That dude's fucking hilarious. And yeah, like a lot of like the banter he gives Sento, I mean, we've talked this like to death. Like that dynamic is like the core of the show to an extent, like that's something that whenever we kind of like see it, we feel like the brotherly bond that those two kind of hold. Like they're basically like partners out there. Like Banjo was fighting for like to be in like the same level as like Sento, and like Sento could kind of like he had some moments of jealousy and stuff like that. Like that relationship like developed, and at a certain point when Banjo was discovering all the occult stuff, I still remember that one scene where like Salva discovered it. Like, he had the alien DNA, and he's like, "Hey,
yeah.
Banjo, looks like you have alien DNA in you."
And Banjo's like freaking out, right? But he's just like, it's like you got alien DNA apparently.
Yeah, and, like, and on multiple occasions, like they were like both like fighting to like save each other. They were like equals on the battlefield, and for secondary writers, like that's not a very common thing, unless, especially like this amount of writers. Like I know Spectre from like Kamen Rider Ghost wasn't nearly the same like stature as Ghost was in that show, but like these guys were kind of like equals the entire way through. So that was just
they were always like kind of like pushing the level on who was slightly more powerful in a fight. You kind of got the undertone of who was more powerful from time to time, and then Banjo would always be able to like push beyond his limits and get his hazard level slightly higher. So you're always like, oh shoot, Banjo's gonna like edge out Sento if he's not careful at this point, right?
Yeah, because like there were some points where it felt like Banjo's, for not a show, but maybe for an episode or two, or maybe even for a moment or two, it was his time to shine, and you knew it. This show really knew when to take the spotlight off of the main hero. The main hero was the damsel in distress for a few episodes. And
he had that like purple marker on his face.
Yeah.
Remember? Like he was dying.
Yeah, and like they let Banjo be important, and that was just they even gave him like a lot of plot relevance as well. It wasn't like completely tied to Sento. So when we were watching those episodes, it felt like, oh, like it's a good thing Banjo's here. Like he's such a significant part of Build, and not just like, oh, well, we need a secondary writer. Let's slap this dude.
He was relevant throughout the entire thing, and it's just so surprising to see a secondary writer this relevant or this powerful in comparison to his, the first our protagonist. Yeah. And then I love how the show is meta with its own concepts, and it's like, yeah, I'm the protagonist here. Hey, what are you talking about? No, I'm the I'm in the spotlight. They would actually have those jokes, and
but that to me is sort of what made it feel more relatable, the universe more relatable, because we're people that have seen any amount of like television ever, and to have those they see these tropes playing out in front of them, and they feel the need to like be the protagonist in their own story. So in that way, it makes it feel more real. Like you're what?
That reminds me of like the finale of the series when Banjo and Sento are like sitting on the bench and they're kind of like narrating the rest of the story. So that might be like where the whole protagonist stuff kind of comes in when they're narrating in the beginning, because technically they are.
Yeah. I rewatched the first episode today under the guise that it was an episode that Sento had created, and that one line, that Mad Rogue, what's his name?
Gentoku?
Takumi. Wait.
Or Utsumi,
yeah. The one line he said, we had him take the test, and he got every single question right. I thought that was the dumbest thing. But I can just imagine Sento writing that being like, I got everything right.
In the lens of like the finale, you can now see it for what it might have.
It honestly, rewatching Build has this sort of new metatextual, I guess, frame, a new frame that you can view it under, that it was something so simple at the end that made everything, that you can change your entire perspective of the show to have that work. Like, there is an entirely new viewing experience. It's like New Game Plus.
Yeah. It is. It's now you get to go through as Luigi.
Yeah.
The whole game, you know.
And like having all of the knowledge from before doesn't diminish any of the surprises or anything that happen during the show, like, you know, or during a potential rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This was such a treat, getting to see it, like, view it for the first time, especially like alongside, you know, a community like a Twitter community, or even alongside everyone that's like been watching along with us and like commenting every now and again. I don't know. There's just something very special outside of build itself. That build, or like, there's something special that I guess the community that we've built and the community online have built that really endeared build to me.
There's a lot of building going on.
Favorites. Yeah, but I don't know, just because like over the course of this, our audience grew pretty steadily, and like we've had people come back. Like, you know, early on we had Bomp Fuzz and
it's a great name.
Was it like just everyone along the way coming here? Like, build's been such a big part of building this channel, and in that sense it has a lot of meaning for me. Yeah.
Try not to
oh
cry,
now
Alex.
You cry.
Try not to cry, Alex. Yeah.
I don't know. I know this has nothing to do with build itself. This is my experience, and just, you know, having everyone along for the ride was really cool.
Yeah, it was really fun watching it with, you know, our audience. Just like having a lot of those interactions in the comment section is really fun to kind of like have, you know, those outside perspectives. And, you know, like everyone was watching and enjoying the show together, so it just made like the whole community around this just feel so much better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like XA where like we're kind of like super divisive.
Yeah, we're on the right side of history this time, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just really appreciative of everything that Build's done for us. Yeah.
Are you, Michael?
But no, I like, there are a lot of characters that we should probably touch on, like Misora and Sawa. But I don't know. Like, I feel like there's still part of their story that needs to be told. I want to see them come back, and I want there to be some sort of finality to their stories, because I feel like we didn't get their conclusion. We got the conclusion for Grease and Rogue, but I'm still looking for more from them, specifically Sawa, because
Sawa was kind of like underutilized to an extent, because like she had like a lot of screen presence and screen time, but they just didn't do anything with her.
Yeah.
So, you know, she would just get shelved occasionally.
She got to do stuff, but it wasn't like character development stuff all the time. Like, I mean, she did a like double cross a few times, and like at that point, I think nobody was surprised at one point. Like,
well, no, honestly, like I was surprised that they'd try it again, because the show's so good at, like, you know, like being good, that you wouldn't expect it to do this dumb thing again. Oh no, they did the dumb thing again. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Thankfully,
Namba's
Sento's
children.
good enough.
But they were Namba's children. Like, that's I mean, come
yeah,
on,
That was a character too.
That was
an antagonist.
That was Utsumi's reason for living. Remember, like he was a Namba's child, so he had to like double cross Evault at the very end just because of that. Like, those guys.
I didn't do it for you. I did it for the bottles.
Yeah.
I did this all for the bucks.
That old dude is wild.
The old dude and Evault. Those are great interactions when they have
the drone. Don't forget the drone.
My favorite little drone that could. They could have had anyone hold a camera, but they just decided, yeah, you know what, drone. Yeah.
Like a little plastic-looking one too, because you know it's not recording jack.
I know. It's probably like streaming like 480p at most, and the audio's probably like horrid because all you hear is.
Oh yeah, what did you guys think of Versace? That was a plot point as well. And to an extent, Misora, I guess.
That's another reason why I feel like there's still more story to tell here. And also, again, why I said Kamen Rider Build full series review asterisks the stuff that we have so far, far. Because not only do we have movie stuff, because I feel like there might be some context in there. We have some spin-offs and some side stories that are still left, and there's a Banjo story that it says it continues Banjo's story, so it's not like an add-on or like something from before. It continues. It continues
like a sequel.
Yeah,
to an extent. Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, so it's it's the end of Build, but it's not the end of Build.
Maybe that's why I'm not as super depressed, is because I know there's still Build left to come.
It's comforting, but to me, having Build every week was just like that little injection of happiness, each and every week. And it the fact that it was so consistently good, it gave me something to look forward to every single week. And for that, I'll miss it. Like, I'll miss the consistency of how good it was, because now we're moving on to Geo, and it's a whole nother thing. We don't know. It's a mixed, not mixed bag, but it's a toss up. We don't entirely know.
And I mean, we can't really bank on Lupat to keep us satisfied. In the meantime,
honestly, I can get by on some Ultraman. If I'm being honest, I can get by on some Ultraman.
I think we can survive off of Ultraman for a little while we get into Geo.
But and this is, you know what? That's more Geo discussion. I don't want to get into that. But
this is just only going to show that this show is so good that it's going to be leaving a gap in our lives of good content, good Toku content that we are going to miss so dearly that we're desperate to find anything else to fill it.
But here's the thing. I did want to touch on an aspect that I thought it was a weird thing for me to think. Geo's starting, and it was very relieving for me to hear that Sento and Banjo were going to be in it early on. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the end of Build's character is to pass the torch, is to have used his influence, his time as a writer, to inspire those after him. And that would be sort of how Build ends for me.
Yeah, because
Sento passing on that knowledge, not necessarily the mantle, but inspiring another generation. Because he inspires me, and and for Geo, who to me is the ultimate playtime story starter. You put him in neat situations that are Kamen Rider related, to be the one after Build, to have that. I see you smiling because I said be the one. To have him sort of pass that on is something that as a kid it would be oh cool, now I'm Geo, I take on the responsibility of Kamen Rider now. And with Build, the name Kamen Rider has so much weight behind it. You know, yeah.
It's very heavy. Yes.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Also, side note. If you had something, I was gonna go on a tangent.
Go on your tangent.
Oh, okay. Well, this will tie back. Trust me. I was on YouTube like last night, and I watched this video in the recommended. Right, hold on, it'll tie back. And then it was a channel where there's this girl who has dissociative identity disorder, and like on camera, like I saw a few of her videos on camera, you see her, she like dissociates from time to time. It's a different experience, but what I learned and what those symptoms are for dissociative identity disorder, it reminds me a lot of Sento and the Devil Scientist. Yeah. Because like when Build needed it the most, when like his foundation was being shaken by I don't know, something, Katsuragi appeared in his mind, you know, and Katsuragi shielded those memories from Build. Like the different parts of you, at least as it was explained to me in her videos, like parts or like those different alters sort of hide things away from you, and they're meant to like protect the main body or the main conscious. And yeah, I really saw that a lot in the character of the Devil Scientist inside that room, inside his head, and like having those conversations back and forth. And when Build was finally done, when everything was finally over for Build, he had no need to, like, everything was complete, he was safe, everything was good, he had no need for his quote alter anymore, and he left. I don't know, I thought it was neat that it was hearing what dissociative identity disorder was, and then like applying that to what I've seen in Build. It was a neat experience.
I felt that was more like, well, I guess I don't exist in this universe, so I'm just going to leave your mind.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah. Hey, yeah, sorry, dude. I know that you're alone here, so I'm going to just peace out. Because everyone's left anyway. I think I'm going to just take my leave. And, you know, that moment at the end when, like, right before Banjo reappeared, Sento was like, man, like, now it's everyone else that doesn't remember. Because at the beginning of the show, he was the one that didn't remember anything. But now it's everyone else.
Gosh, this show wraps up so
neatly.
Goes all the way full circle.
Yeah. And they took some of our favorite moments, the metatextual like recaps, and recontextualize them into something that we can truly enjoy as part of the entire experience, like in a different light. Build handles everything so well.
Yeah, they even handled their stinkiest shit well. Like when all that bullshit about the two worlds was happening, there was other more like important stuff to us that was also happening at the same time that we were distracted the entire time.
Yeah.
Like they were moving like this massive pile of dog shit across from us. We were just looking at like Banjo and Sento the entire time.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying with the whole the storytelling. Like it didn't matter how ridiculous or stupid what was going on, as long as we were invested in the characters and how it was affecting them. Just like we were able to just go through with it, you know.
It's like, shit, you better go chase them in that gap between two worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
care what kind of danger he's in. A weird two-tailed dragon with like a human head is eating him. Well, you better go save him. He's your best friend. Like, you can put them in any situation.
Sorry, Misora. He didn't choose you.
I mean, like, they're truly the best match. I'm glad they rode off into the sunset together.
Yeah.
Like, it is so good. Like, I said this, like, every now and then for our build reviews, but, like, I, for jokes, shipped Korosami, but I full-on seriously shipped Sento and Build.
That episode
hold on, I just said Sento and Build. I meant Sento and Bancho.
That episode when they had the little puppets with their faces on them, and they were, like, acting out a scenario. I just did not see it coming when that... So, that means you'll accept my love letter? Or something like that. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I can't wait to come back to this show. And we were toying with the idea, I don't know, this is going to be in the future, so whatever happens, happens. But we were toying with the idea, a watch-along of episode 1 and 2 don't exist from us. So we were thinking of doing that and, like, giving that out for Toku Week if you guys sort of wanted that. So if you're interested, yeah, go for it. It'll be under the guise of... it's New Game Plus episode 1 and 2, not episode 1 and 2 first playthrough, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we will be talking probably spoilers from that point on.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else you guys want to talk about for Build?
Sure, there are probably.
That sexy voice acting from Evolved. God damn, did he get me hyped for everything that happened?
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I have to say about that. Just wanted to put it out there.
What about the character development for the dad?
I wonder how many... Huh?
What about the character development for the dad? His body was there the whole time, and that was it? Yeah. Love this show. Do you guys have anything else?
I mean, this isn't the last. One day I'll own it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, and this isn't the last you'll hear from us about Build. You know.
Yeah.
And
if anything
also,
comes out,
yeah,
we'll be on it.
And 100%, next episode of Geo, or maybe the one after that, Build's gonna be in it. So this really isn't the end of Build, but it's the end of Build. And yeah, anyways, guys, that's about it for us. But hey, it's Toku Week, day 7? Day 7. That means we've got
Are you sure it's not day 8 now?
By the time this is over, it's day 8. But yeah, so what that means, it's Toku Week. We've got some shirts that Michael and I have been working on for a while. And this shirt today is Today's Chef! You get a shirt, you get a shirt, it's Today's Chef. This is from our Gentoku translated line. I'm sorry the visuals look so weird. I'm like manipulating it real time. But this is another one of those shirts. I didn't know if it was going to come out well, especially since it's like over brown. And I wasn't all about it, and I had no idea how we were going to get the utensils down. But Michael, you really pulled it together. This shirt looks great. This shirt looks absolutely awesome. And I'm really excited to share this with everyone. And like at the time of this recording, someone like actually bought an approachable shirt. Someone really wanted to be approachable. So thank you so much for going out and like supporting our stuff. This is available on our Redbubble. Redbubble. No, it's not Redbubble. I spent hours today editing Redbubble out of some of our conversations. But it's on our TeePublic. Down in the description below. And the moment it's listed, if you're watching this the day it goes out, the moment it's listed, it goes on sale for 30% off, so you'll be getting that shirt for $14 within that window. Anytime after that, it's only $20. But yeah, that's about the it for us. Build's over. It's not really over, but it's over, and
yep.
I'm really glad that we got to do this with everyone and watch it along with you, review it, alongside you and everyone who's supported us thus far. And if you bought that shirt, comment down below. We'll give you a shout out.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? If you buy a shirt at all, we'll shout you out.
That is,
because it is wild, dude.
Yeah. But only if you take a picture with yourself wearing the shirt.
Oh, sure.
Or else we don't know if you're telling the truth or not.
That's true.
That's true. Dang it.
We'll see. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we will be here each and every. Shut the hell up. We will be here each and every week. To bring you Geo and whatever the hell else that comes out from Toei. And are you okay?
Each and every shut the.
Thanks for watching. Keep it juicy.
See ya
later.
Build's over, boys. But it's not. But it is. But it isn't.
Yep.
Yeah. That dissociative identity disorder stuff. That was really cool, though. She has 6 different alters and they're on camera differently. It's a trip.